Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Veda and this is The Simple Budget. Here on my channel I show you how my family is using the zero-based budgeting method in order to maintain a simplified financial life. If that sounds like content that you're interested in, I would love it if you would hit the subscribe button and join our little crew here. With that being said, let's get into today's video. Alrighty, well, hello everyone and happy bonus content Wednesday. I am particularly excited for today's video because it is the first time ever that we are updating you guys on the status of our emergency fund. So if you happen to be new to my channel, when I first started my channel in January of 2023, I'm pretty sure that's when I started my channel, we had just under $59,000 of consumer debt, and we worked really hard to pay that off, and we finished paying that off in May of this year. And we are sort of loosely, intensely following the Dave Ramsey baby steps. And so I will leave a link for those below. But basically what you do if you have consumer debt is you establish a $1,000 emergency fund. That is baby step number one. Baby step number two is that you pay off all of your debt with the exception of your home if you have a mortgage. And then baby step number three is to save up an emergency fund. I think there's some play in there between 3 to 6 months of expenses. My husband and I are going all the way and just doing 6 months of expenses. One, because it makes us feel better in the event of an emergency, but two, also, the more you have saved up, the more interest you get on that savings. And so it's sort of multifunctional, the emergency fund savings for us. And so that's what we're working on right now. And so when we started saving up our emergency fund, we already had the $1,000 in the savings in our high yield savings account. And then we have been treating saving up for the emergency fund in pretty much the same way that we treated paying down our debt. I got a part-time job when we first started paying down our debt, and I had two in that span of time. And then I almost went for a third around the summertime, and then we opted out of that because for now it just makes sense for our family for me to be home. I prefer it, and my husband prefers it, and my kids prefer it, and we are fortunate enough that we're able to do that. And also because of my YouTube channel and my Etsy shop, I am able to supplement our family income in a way that benefits us so that it doesn't necessitate me going out and getting a part-time job. If I had a part-time job, we would be saving up for our emergency fund much faster because like I mentioned, we paid off just about $59,000 of consumer debt inside of like 17 months, which was pretty intense. And we are not able to put as much money toward our emergency fund as we were able to put toward our debt payoff. But we're feeling in a really good position. And so that's another reason why we decided to forego me getting a job. However, that doesn't mean the intensity of what we are choosing to put aside from a percentage standpoint of our budget has lessened, because we are still being pretty intense and intentional with how we work our budget and how much money we're putting toward our emergency fund. So our goal is to do $2,000 a month toward our emergency fund. Anything extra that comes into our house goes toward it as well. But our goal of $2,000 a month is something that we are absolutely sticklers for meeting. So given that we paid off our debt in May and we have not had an emergency fund update for you guys at all since then, I'm really excited to get into this. So just so everybody is aware, 6 months of priority expenses in our household that we are concerned about is going to be roughly about $36,000 for us to save up. So that's our goal amount in mind. And again, if you happen to be new to my channel, what my husband and I did as we were paying down our debt was reward ourselves with a special date night whenever we paid off a debt. So we started off paying down debt with 4 debts. And then every time we paid off a new debt, we would go on a date. And so in a similar way, what we've decided to do is every 25% of our emergency fund that we save up, our plan is to go on a date. So that's kind of how we're working it to celebrate the milestones, so to speak. So anyways, I have rambled on long enough. So let's go ahead and jump into my budget planner here. I'm going to pop back to my poor little plant. I'm going to pop back to my savings section, which is actually like way in the back. Oh, poor old September budget. There we go. So the budget planner I have available in 3 different options. You can get it printed from my Etsy shop. You can get it as a digital download that you can print yourself. And then of course, I also have it in a digital format that you can use in a notes app on your tablet. It is pretty evenly spread out, I would say, as far as how people purchase it. If you purchase it in a printed version, it comes to you piecemeal though, just because of like the cost of materials and things like that. It is obviously going to cost more for my customers to have me print and ship it for you. But this is one of the sections, the savings tracker section. And I really like this one because I have savings tracking in a couple different formats. And then I also have just like a general savings tracker. And then I have some savings challenges that are part of the savings as well. I have the 100 envelope challenge, a $5,000 savings challenge, and then a $10,000 savings challenge. So if you purchase the savings section, that's what you get. But I'm gonna go ahead and zoom you guys in, and then we can kind of go over what we've been doing since we paid off our debt in May. Okay, here we are. So I included my 6 months emergency fund savings in my gold savings tracker because I have just a general savings tracker, but then I also have these sections where you can put a specific goal amount that you're, or a specific thing that you're saving for, the amount that you're saving, and when you expect to have that done. The due date is something that we are going to discuss at a later time because we had an original goal in mind as far as like when we wanted to have the $36,000 saved up for, but then after some lengthy discussion, my husband and I are kind of switching up a little bit how we plan to do our emergency fund savings after the second quarter. Well, it's going to be the fourth quarter after the fourth quarter is over this year, but we will go into that with you guys when we do our end of year emergency fund savings update. So stay tuned for that because we have some like things to kind of go over with you guys. But anyways, let's just jump right into it. So like I mentioned, we paid off our debt in May of this year. And so we immediately rolled into saving for the emergency fund. We didn't like do any like, oh, let's just take this spare $2,000 that we have and have some fun with it. Our goal is to be super duper intense and intentional as best as we can in saving up for our emergency fund because, you know, we have other financial goals after we achieve that as well. So in the month of June, we were able to put $2,133.22 in our emergency fund. Like I mentioned, we had already had a $1,000 emergency fund before we started paying down our debt. And in the interest of full disclosure, there were some balances that we didn't get at the end of the month that included our interest that we get in our high yield savings account. And so I just updated the balance. It was $3,133.22. The other thing that we have going on here is our high yield savings account has a variety. Our high yield savings account is with Ally, and I'll go ahead and leave them linked below. I think I have a referral link for them where I'll get some sort of bonus maybe or something if you use my referral link. So just know that up front, but I'll leave them linked below if you're interested. They're percent, their high yield percentage is still pretty decent, even though the Fed is, I think, slowly lowering the rate. That does impact savings account rates, but for now, I think it's like 4%, which is still decent. So I'm not mad at it. But the other thing that I wanted to say about specifically our high yield savings account is we use it for a variety of different things. So Ally allows you to utilize what they call a bucket system. So you can specify how much money is going toward, like it's basically like cash stuffing. So you have different categories or buckets in your high yield savings account. And so you can like sweep money into different buckets depending on what you're saving for. And so we have a variety of different buckets in there, like our medical. Even though we have we cash stuff for our medical, it's also something that we have in our high yield savings account. So once we reach $230 in our envelope or $250 in our cash envelope, we move that over into our high yield savings account. And so that's our threshold for moving something over into our savings account. So anytime we reach $250, the money goes into whatever bucket we have allocated for it. So the other thing that we've been doing here and there, especially because, as I've mentioned 1,000 times, if you're not new around here, you're probably tired of hearing me say it, but we are going home for Christmas this year. We live in Texas. I'm originally from Delaware, and so we're going to be traveling home for Christmas because my 40th birthday is this year. So we're going to celebrate with my family, which will be wonderful. And because of that, we have been sweeping our interest into our Christmas fund just so that we have enough money in there to travel, like gas money and stuff like that. We are staying with family, and so our expenses will be lower than if we were just like, staying at an Airbnb or a hotel or something like that. But it still doesn't, you have to account for the cost of travel. We're actually driving there because it's, especially at Christmas time, it's nice to have the space in your car for presents and all that kind of stuff too. So anyways, so that's also why the balance may not reflect interest earned in the high yield savings account for that month, because we kind of make decisions here and there where we're sweeping the interest to, and it's not always into our emergency fund, which we're totally fine with. And we will make those decisions in the future as well. We are not hard pressed to make sure that the interest is going right to the emergency fund. Sometimes it's nice to be able to put it into other categories of your budget, especially if there's a need. So, and I would even argue, if you are struggling financially and you are putting every spare penny and you need some spare pennies to go into some normal everyday categories of your budget, absolutely pull that interest and put it somewhere else, because it is important to make sure that you're funding categories of your budget where you spend from regularly in a way that I would say is more important to be putting interest toward categories of your savings if you're really struggling with pennies from month to month. Absolutely. If you have $1,000 in your high yield savings account as an emergency fund, take that interest out at the end of every month and put it towards something in your budget that matters and is suffering financially. That would be my main advice to you if this is something that you're new to and you're wondering how you're going to get an extra $5 or $10 or $20 or whatever it is. Utilize your interest. It matters. And that is something that we've learned along the way in budgeting in general anyway, is that it might not seem like a big deal, but if you randomly come across an extra $20 or something in your budget, that can actually plug a couple of holes in some necessary spending categories that you wouldn't even realize would matter unless you're budgeting your money and being strict with your finances in the way that zero-based budgeting really helps you do. So anyways, enough of that, and we will move right along. For the month of July, we put in $1,982.89. Now, I know I just mentioned to you, we have a pretty hard and fast rule of $2,000. It wasn't that we didn't reach our goal this month. It was just that some of the money, it was either we sat on it a little bit until August, or we used part of June to pad July to make it to 2,000. I don't really remember the specifics at this point because it's been so long, but we did hit the goal. We budgeted $2,000. I just don't think it transferred in the month of July, which is why it looks like July we were under our goal a little bit. but we finished out July with a balance of $5,116.11. And so you can see, like, one of the things that, I know it sounds so silly to be excited about, but one of the things that really has been so, not like eye-opening, but just, or shocking even, I can't even think of the term that I want to use for this, but when you're not paying down debt, all of the money is yours. Like, what? Interest is yours. All of the money that you're saving is yours. This is all money that we are no longer giving to somebody else. It's sitting in our high yield savings account, and it will benefit us in the event of an emergency. And that is something that I cannot stress to you enough, the peace that that brings. If you are on the fence about doing this, please, please, please do it. I promise you that the benefits of this are far-reaching, and you don't even really realize them because they don't hit you all at once. It's something that sort of comes up along the way as you're going through this process. And it was just, especially like around July, like it started becoming real. Like, we're keeping all of this money. This isn't going to somebody else to pay down debt for something anymore. This is ours, and we just are holding it there for us so that we can utilize it if there's an emergency. There's just no words to describe that piece. Anyways, moving right along, the month of August, we put in $2,079.96. And so we left the month of August with $7,196.07 in our high yield savings account. And again, I can't remember which of these months we decided to keep the interest in our emergency fund, or which of these months we decided to maybe move some interest over into a different category. But as I was just discussing, for Christmas this year, our goal from now through Christmas is to put all of our interest into our Christmas category, because it is just necessary when you're talking about traveling 2,000 miles to get back to your home state. So that's what we will be doing from this point going forward. I can't remember if, like, in one of these months we maybe moved some money over into a different category, but for now on, like from October on, we are absolutely taking interest and putting it into our Christmas category. So I think what we are planned to do, not that you asked, but I'm telling you, in the future is to actually maybe take the interest every month and put it in a different bucket, so that every single month, each category of our each category in our high yield savings account is getting a little boost, a little unplanned boost every single month. So obviously the months at the end of the year are going to benefit even more, because it's going to keep building throughout the year. But it's still nice to be able to say, like, oh, because we actually have little savings accounts for our son and daughter too. So it's like the interest is going to go into our son's category this month, and then it's going to go into our daughter's the next month, and then back to school we'll get a boost, and just all of those things that are, like I was saying, it's like the impact of being able to actually keep all of your money every month is something that you don't, it doesn't hit you all at once. It's something that sort of kind of creeps up as you're going through the process. And this is one of those things we were kind of excited about, where it's like, geez, every single month we're going to be able to take the interest and positively benefit a different category of our budget in a way that we've never been able to do before. And that's an exciting part of this process too. So if you are going through the debt payoff process, or you're going through the emergency fund process, just like be excited about those little things, because those are the moments where you can feel that peace and just relief of being able to keep all of your dollars. And if you're going through the debt payoff process, I promise you it's so, so worth it on the other side to look at all of your money and know that in some way it's just benefiting you from now on. It's not going to somebody else to benefit them. It's going to only benefit you. That is a wonderful feeling. Last up is September. So in September, why did we put $3,000 in September? Was September a magic month? Was August a magic month? Hey, hon. Yeah. Do you remember why we put $3,000 in the emergency fund in September? Was it a magic month, or was August a magic month?
Because we're awesome.
Well, okay, but In real life, though.
We got paid on September 30th, which means initiating the transfer of money that day August 30th doesn't kick into September.
So August was a magic month.
Yes, August was a magic month, but it de facto turns, at least part of that money ends up getting deposited in September.
Gotcha. Okay. So that's what happened. So August was actually a magic month, but he got paid on August 30th. So the money didn't actually go in until September. So even though August was the magic month, September is the month that it got the boost. And so you're going to be loud.
I'm not talking to you.
I'm leaving that in so that people can hear how you speak to me.
You don't want to pick the fight with me. I'm just trying to cut the bad spot out of an apple.
Oh, was there a bad spot in an apple?
Yeah.
I paid too much money for groceries for there to be a bad spot in an apple.
No, these things happen. Bad apple spoiling the whole batch.
I know. Anyways, so that's what happened. So that's why it got more in September. We had actually budgeted more for August, but the transfer didn't happen until September. And so in September, the emergency fund got a total of $3,319.20, meaning that we left September with $10,034.90 in our emergency fund. And it's definitely, we're not a third of the way there, but we've definitely crested the 25% threshold that we are supposed to be going on a date for. However, if you've been watching my channel for any time over the last couple of weeks, you know that our date category is not buffed up enough in order for us to actually be able to go on a date and celebrate this. If you're a longtime viewer of my channel, you know that this is pretty typical for us. We will sometimes not go on a date for months after we reach a threshold for whatever reason. We just can't make the time, or we don't have enough money saved up for it, or whatever. So we're not really upset about it. We are excited to have reached the first 25% in our emergency fund, which is absolutely spectacular. It's something that we are sort of blown away by, to be perfectly frank, because how quickly it happened was not something that we were really anticipating. So we are very, very, very excited to have reached this level at this point. So, yeah, I'm going to just zoom you guys back out and then we can finish chatting. Alrighty, so I figured I would finish out this video with this quote actually that I had included in my savings section, which is one of my favorite quotes that I included in my budget planner, which is: the ultimate reason for setting goals is to entice you to become the person it takes to achieve them. One of the things that I have been so surprised by with myself is how much of a stickler I've been able to be along this entire process of paying down our debt and saving up for our emergency fund, and also how it has impacted just everyday life, which is something that I also didn't anticipate. I'm not sitting here saying that this is easy. It's not easy. I mean, it's just like anything else. Working out is hard in the moment, but it's so beneficial for your body. Making good food choices is difficult in the moment, especially in this world that we are living in, where bad food is just at your fingertips. But it's so, so good for your body long term. Being disciplined with your finances is difficult because we are, especially in a way that no other culture has before, no other time period, people of any other time period, we are inundated with things that you should have, or you may want, or will, you're going to want to have these organization products, and you're going to want to have these clothes or those shoes or that bag, or that TV or that video game system or whatever it is. We're inundated with consumerism, and it touches a part of us that feeds the dopamine monster that we all are a slave to in some capacity in this time that we are in. And I recognize, as a person who is still an actively recovering spender, I have to regularly discipline myself away from buying unnecessary things, or even buying necessary things at the wrong time, because that's the other factor of this equation. You will need a car unless you live in a super urban area where you can walk places, and that's wonderful. You need clothes. you need shoes, you need food. We need a lot of these things, and that's what makes this spending discipline so difficult, because it's tapping into what you can justify in your mind as a necessity, except for that it's the excess that gets you. And I know that it's really challenging to say no and to walk away from things that you may really, really want. But I promise you that if you discipline yourself and save up for them, if you have the ability to do that, first of all, it will enable you to make better consumer choices, because you're really going to think hard about hitting that purchase button if it's something that you had to save months for. But also there's a real, what's the word I'm looking for? There's like a real sense of accomplishment and achievement when you have delayed gratification for yourself and you have waited to save up for something that's meaningful for you, and then you've actually earned it. There's no buyer's remorse. There's no guilt. There's just, I worked hard, I saved the money, I bought the thing. And then you have no debt on the backside of that. You're not paying anybody else interest in order to borrow their money so that you can have this thing that doesn't really actually fulfill you in any meaningful way. So that would be my encouragement to you moving forward. No matter where you are in your financial process, whether that is you're paying down debt, whether your debt is gone and you're saving up for other exciting things in your life. These are things that have taken me however long I've had this channel, almost 2 years, to learn that the everyday financial piece that comes with following a system is something that, I mean, really and truly, and this is so cliche, but money really can't buy. There's nothing that I want now that is more significant than the piece that comes with not being encumbered by debt and actually having money in a savings account that will help to pad us in the event of an emergency. So keep pushing forward. I know that you are inundated daily with things that you don't need, but that you really want, and saying no to them is just as difficult as saying no to chocolate cake every day. Because who doesn't want chocolate cake every day? Anyway, maybe that's just me. But to move away from that, I actually wanted to just offer a little mini giveaway to one of you. A lot of you enjoy my nail polish color in whatever video I'm filming. I did do a new one today. This is not a color that is readily available. Unfortunately, you guys, if you've been around here some time, you know that my preferred brand of nail polish is Lights Lacquer. And this is her second brand. Her first brand is where I got this nail polish color from. But a lot of you really, really enjoyed my nail color from last week. So, Monday's cash stuffing, and also last week's, like, all of the bonus content videos. And it was a color called Lady Marmalade, and it's from Lights Lacquer's new autumn line. And if I'm not mistaken, it's sold out at this point, or it's very, very close to being sold out. But I managed to get my hands on another one of them. So I am offering this as a giveaway to somebody who, I'm sorry if you're a fella. I mean, unless you're a fella who likes to paint his nails, in which case, by all means, go for it. But the only thing that you need in order to be considered to win this is to be publicly subscribed to my channel. And then just let me know down below what you like to do for a little bit of you time. And that's it. And then I'm going to announce the winners in next Wednesday's video. I am actually not uploading my cash stuffing on Monday because my in-laws are coming into town. And so my cash stuffing will be uploaded on Wednesday next week. And I'm going to announce the winner of this giveaway in next Wednesday's video. So you have until Tuesday to enter the giveaway, next Tuesday to enter the giveaway. And again, this is the color Lady Marmalade. It's the one I was wearing on my nails this past week. I'll leave a picture of it up on the screen for you now. I don't even really think the picture does it justice. It's a very deep, rich, almost chocolatey maroon black red. if that makes sense, on the nails. So anyways, this is just a little thank you for being part of my channel and being part of this process and watching me along the way. I really appreciate this community, and I like to try to, do little things like this whenever I can make it happen. So that's that. And that's going to do it for me for today's video. That's my little emergency fund update. Thank you guys so much for being so excited about this. There's something really special about being part of a community that is cheering you on in your financial success. And I hope that you feel that from me as well. More than anything, I just want this for everybody, especially as we're hearing more and more news, more and more information about how people are defaulting on their mortgages and they're defaulting on their car payments, and groceries are expensive and all of these things. And I just really, I think there's a lot of stuff at play that makes it difficult for people to achieve financial success, but there's a lot of self-discipline also that can be enacted to help for you to help yourself. And that's really what I want for everybody. I just want everybody to not be encumbered by debt and their own bad financial decision making. And I promise you that if you discipline yourself, I cannot recommend the zero-based budgeting method enough. I have an entire playlist of Budget With Me. So if you want to go look and see how we make this happen on a weekly basis and on a monthly basis, those videos are good kind of touchstones to just kind of get a view of how things work broadly. And again, if you watch a bunch of other budget content creators, you really get a picture for how other people are doing it. And then you can kind of create a system based off of what you're seeing other people do that makes sense for you, because it's not a one size fits all process. There are going to be little bits of information that you're going to be able to pull from other people and create your own system that really works for you after you watch through enough of it that it makes sense for you. So anyways, I'll be done rambling for now. I hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will be back with you here on Friday to do our weekly check-in, which again, if you're new, is a really good way of kind of seeing how we handle the everyday spending in our lives and making sure that we're staying in budget. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I will be back with you on Friday, and until then, I hope you have a good one. Bye, everyone.